you can create a site for yourself, which is like $9. It's not going to be something that we would do, but it is something that is good enough for the level that you're at, right? And you can use that to do a proof of concept, because you need to make sure that what you're trying to provide to the market in the way you're trying to provide it is something that the market wants. If they don't want it, then there's no amount of how good it is, the market doesn't need it. Thank you for, I guess, having me on for this.
Thank you for accepting. What time is it where you are?
It is 8:11 over here now.
I didn't even consider that.
It's cool. I've done stuff later than this anyway, so that's cool.
You're used to it, right?
Hey Samaya, hey Maker, the gang's in here.
Yes, hey guys.
Gang.
Thanks for joining in. So I'm so excited to talk to you because I always hit you up in your DMs and stuff about digital stuff. So now I can milk you for as much information.
And you can do it live as well. Get everyone involved.
Yeah. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, so what would you like me to say?
However you would like to introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, what is it that you do, what are your offerings?
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, for everyone listening and for everyone jumping in, my name is Oye. I am the CEO of Cubs Group Media, based here in England, in Manchester. And what do? We make high-performance websites with high-performance systems for high-performance businesses. And what that means is customers who come to us who want to get their client attraction sorted online and dominate their industries will say to us, hey, we need a presence online, we need to get customer acquisition, and we want to dominate our industry. And we say to them, awesome, we can do that for you. We can create an aesthetically looking website or aesthetically looking presence. We can sort out all the client attraction features you're going to need, be it your SEO to your funnels, to your lead capture, your lead generation, and all that sort of stuff, and sort out all your tracking and everything associated with that, which then allows you to dominate your industry because now you're everywhere with an omnipresent presence when you do your marketing. So that is us in a nutshell.
I like that. That sounds so good. And how did you get into this industry? Well, how long have you been in?
So, interesting story. So I was supposed to be a solicitor. I was supposed to be a lawyer, but I graduated in the heart of the recession and finished law school shortly after, still within the heart of the recession. And there were no law jobs. So you could literally apply to a law firm today. Back then, you used to try and get what was called a training contract or trainee contract with a law firm, where basically you apply to get this contract and you work with them for 2 years as a trainee, and then the next year, the third year, you become newly qualified solicitor. And that was what everybody was trying to get. So you could hit up a law firm, they would probably have maybe 6 positions, and they would have 600 people trying to get those 6 positions. So yeah, okay. So that was it. So basically all of that kind of went away because either the recession took out the firm, so you could apply today and by tomorrow you'd see, oh, this firm is no longer in existence, or this firm has been taken over by a US firm, or this firm has merged with a whole different firm, or this firm just is no longer in existence. So those were the situations. So I was like, you know what? I've been doing stuff online since 2003. And back then, I didn't see it as a career path, nor did I see it as a real job. So everything I was learning back then, it was just kind of like, oh, this is just something to do now. If I want to buy a new Xbox, I can use this to buy a new Xbox. I can use this to get a new pair of trainers or sneakers. That was all it was. But then when the recession happened and that situation, I was like, let me try and make a business out of what it was I was already doing in the past to see how that goes. And those skills essentially was what led me to be where I am at now at this current state. So
it was more so like
it was a fun thing that became a necessity. Well, it was a fun thing that I had to turn into a business out of necessity, because it was either I wasn't going to be a lawyer or I was going to just keep trying to apply and become a lawyer, hopefully. But it wasn't going to be anything soon. It was something like maybe another 2-3 years before I may possibly get one of those training contracts to then work at a firm to then hopefully then become a lawyer later on. So that just didn't seem feasible, and everything was up in the air because, like I said, recession was just making things crazy. So I was like, do you know what? Let me figure out something based on the skills I currently have. And it wasn't like I thought, oh, I have these skills, I'm going to be it was kind of like, okay, this is something I've done in the past. Let me see if this can work. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, so just throwing something up against the wall.
You know, because I was like, peeps paid me before for stuff, so maybe if I could get, like back then I was thinking, if I could get 3 people to give me 500 quid, I'll be fine. You know, that's all I thought. If I could just get one person give me 500, another person give me, and one more, I'll be cool. You know, that I could figure out the next 3 and so on. So that was it.
See, this is why I love these interviews. I'm really enjoying it more than I thought. This is what's happening to me. I did not plan this, right? So I'm in the financial literacy space, and I'm like, I said that very same thing to myself when I first started out. I'm like, look, if I could just get 3 clients.
I don't know why the number is 3 though, because it was always like, if I could just get 3, I'll be cool. You know, so.
Because if you think about it, everything you need to get the business off the ground is like 3 clients. That third client is your profit. Isn't that always
that's always the case, yo. That's always the case.
Oh my God. So did you ever practice
law?
No,
not as a solicitor, because I didn't qualify. So
define solicitor.
So in England, you have 2 types of routes you can go down. You can become a barrister or you can become a solicitor. The main difference between them used to be, because I've been out the game now, I don't know if that's still the same, but what it was the barristers were the ones who would go to court and argue your case. So like Harvey Specter, those type of guys that we see on that show. The Harvey Specters who go to court and then argue your case and be like, Your Honor this, Your Honor that, my client this, my client that. Those were the barristers. The solicitors were more the people who did all the stuff behind the scenes, which they used to prepare the stuff for the barristers to take into court. So they'd prepare it all, like they could be like the QBs, and then whoever was the wide receiver would get it and then run it. You know, they run the play. So the barrister would run the play that the QB set up. So that's kind of the difference between the two. So a solicitor would probably do stuff like your commercial properties, stuff to do with intellectual properties. They're a lot of client facing in terms of their role. So the other side solicitor would meet with my solicitor, and then we would argue it kind of face to face sort of thing. Whereas the barrister would go to court and argue the case in court with the other barrister of the other side. So that's kind of the difference between the two, and that's kind of how it works over here.
Wow, you explained that very, very well. Thank you. So did you want to be a lawyer when you grew up?
You know what? I didn't. Truth of the matter is this: I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. You know, like we had a bunch of things, and the thing is, going back now, when I look back on that, I'm like, there's no way I could have known what I wanted to be when I grew up, because I didn't kind of have, and I don't think anyone does necessarily. I don't think the majority of us do. You don't kind of have like a clear path of self-awareness where you're being told, okay, you're good at this, so you should try to be this. or you have talents in this, you have talents in that. So maybe a path in this industry should be something you should be looking at. Really, how I picked law was both my parents were lawyers. That was the first thing. But it wasn't even because of that. It was more a case of one of the conversations I had was, if you become a lawyer and you still don't know what you want to do, you have the skills with law that allows you to do anything else. So that was really what made me choose that, because I was like, okay, cool. Even if I don't want to do that, at least I have the skill to do something else, because when you go and you say, oh yeah, I studied law, I've got a law degree, I've got blah, 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 it'd be like, okay, cool. Well, you should be able to do this, or you should be able to do that, sort of thing. So that was why I picked law. Not necessarily because I said, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be a lawyer, I'm definitely going to do this. Looking back on it and looking back on myself, what I should have probably be doing is something to do with entrepreneurship, because that's kind of where I had glimpses and signs of doing stuff like that. Because even in school, I would sell my snacks to make paper and use that and stack up my bread, essentially. So and then I figured out that, okay, I could do a little business from it. I think I was like 14 or 15, and it was like these chocolates that I didn't like. I didn't like the chocolates, but my mom used to buy them. And then I said, oh no, I don't like them. And she said, okay, cool, I'll get the next ones next time. But for now, this is what we have. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll eat them, sort of thing. But then I figured out a lot of other kids liked them. So I was like Biggie said, never get high on your own supply. So I said, all right, cool, I'm going to sell this to you guys, and I'm gonna keep the paper. I did it one day, I did it second day, I did it third day. I said, Mom, where's the place where you get these chocolates at? Because I need to stack up. And she was like, why? You don't like them? I was like, don't worry about that. That's not the focus right now. So now looking back on myself, then I should have probably said, you know what, if I had that self-awareness to say, do something with entrepreneurship, that is where you're probably going to excel at, so.
This is so funny, and I'm actually learning more and more about myself, and I'm also learning more and more. As I talk to more people, I see me in you. But for me, it was so apparent to everyone else. They were like, oh, you should be a speaker, you should do things. And I'm like in shock now, because I remember you quoted, where you made a note on one of my lives like 2 or 3 days ago. You like, I don't know what you said, but you like, Akila, every time I come on IG.
I was like, yo, I get the notifications every time. Akila's going live with. Okay, so okay, cool. Let's go. Let's go, Akila.
Strangely enough, if you think of, now I've been a part of the morning meetup since September, right? I just turned my camera on. I would not turn my camera on. That was number one. I would join the book club. I was not promoting any business. I just wanted to read. I thought it was a gift from God when I joined RPX, and then he attached the morning meetup, and he had a book club. I was like, oh my God. I could never find anyone to read with me, like ever. And then the books I was talking about, they're looking at me like, nah, I don't know that guy. You know what I'm saying? So I genuinely was on the morning meetup where people are strategic with it, and they're like, hey, I'm gonna drop my core, which I should have been doing, So I just kind of like stumbled up on this thing, and one day I did like 3 people back to back, and then I got off, and I was like, that's when it hit me. I said it to myself, like literally, like, girl, you literally been talking for or listening and talking for 3 hours straight.
And then break a sweat.
You're not tired of talking? This is amazing. So I've never been to the UK. Before I have you describe that, where are you originally from? And then walk me through how you ended up in the UK, if you're not.
Cool. So originally from Nigeria, and my mom, she studied over here. She probably lived here most of her life, but it was kind of a thing of you'd finish school in Niger and then you'd come over to England and you would continue your education, that sort of stuff. That's kind of how the process worked. But my sister's American, so part of my childhood was also spent in Washington and Boston, hence why I support the Celtics. So kind of finished what we call secondary school, then came over to England for A levels, then A levels to uni to law school. That's kind of my process of how I kind of ended up with England, basically, as opposed to, because I had a bunch of my friends who we were in the same school, they did the SATs and went over to America, right? Whereas those of us who were coming to England, we did GCE O levels to then come to England and do A levels. So you do AS and A2, then you go to university. So for you guys in America, because I was speaking to Jaleesa about this, it is senior year of high school, the last 2 years of senior year of high school, and then college is university. So your last 2 years of senior year of high school would be my AS and A2, and then me going to university is the same thing as you going to college. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. That was clear. Okay, so what was it like growing up in the UK? And I'm someone that's never been there. It's on my to-do list. But I have a follow-up question, something I want to do, right? But tell me what it was like growing up there. And if you could explain to me and others, like, what area did you live in and all that other stuff, and kind of give a clearer picture as you possibly can.
So we had a family home in London. So London is in the south, southern England. I'm in the north. So I'm in Manchester, which is northwest, right? So spent, again, childhood in London, again, family home and all that sort of stuff. But I wouldn't say I grew up here necessarily. I would say my childhood is a combination of all those three places between Niger, England, and America. But I can tell you from my high school to where I'm at now, which is, that's where the majority of my England life came from. It was pretty, to be honest, it was pretty cool. Back then, there used to be this thing about the North is friendlier than the South. It's not true and it's not untrue. Southern England, London is like facts. It is friendly, but London, everybody's in a rush. So everyone's kind of rushing to get somewhere. I would probably liken it to New York, where everyone's like fast paced, boom, 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 boom. We ain't got time to chat. If it ain't making me dollars, it ain't making me sense. That sort of attitude, right?
If you're a business owner, you may or may not already have your online presence created. There are some mistakes that can be made, and I don't want you to be making them when you're starting your business online. If you already have your online presence, one mistake you could be making is not actually collecting your leads via your website. This is not the same as general inquiries. A lead is me raising my hand and saying, I'm interested in your particular service. A general inquiry could be something like me asking you, hey, what year did you start your business? The two are not the same. So I've put together an easily digestible checklist of the 5 biggest mistakes you could make online and how to avoid them. It's called the Secret Web Design Checklist. Also, I've got a book and it's called Starting Your Online Business the Right Way. Just go to oyemade.com/performance. That's oyemade.com/performance. And you see the options for the Secret Web Design Checklist and the book to starting your online business the right way. Hope you enjoy those. Now, let's get back to the episode.
I give you 5 minutes. I need to be spending that doing something else, making me paper,
Oh,
Whereas the North was more chilled, more relaxed sort of thing. And they like over here, no one's about that life. So if you used to work in London and you come to Manchester, it's a whole different, like, it's a culture shock. Even though it's the same country, you can get a real culture shock like that, you know. But dope things which I do remember, like I learned how to play rugby when I was in A levels. I still play now, still play semi-pro. I brought basketball over here. Well, I brought basketball to my school because they didn't have a basketball team until I joined the school. And basically the whole growing up here was cool. I'm not gonna say that they were like, my particular experience was cool. I enjoyed it and got to learn a lot of stuff from different people, met a lot of, especially uni was dope. Learned a lot of people and still good friends with people from A levels up to uni, even the friends who have their own businesses now, the ones who work, like all of that, like was still cool. So it is cool. It does have its downsides. I won't say like it doesn't, but my particular experience for the most part was cool.
Okay. What would you say that the biggest difference between the UK and the United States is from your perspective?
Okay, I'll talk about good things and bad things. Good things I would say is America is very focused on, because it's more capitalist. It's very focused on get your business, get it out there, boom, boom, boom. We ain't got time to waste. We gotta get things moving, right? We need to get there. Here's the goal: 100K, then 500K, then $1 million, then whatever. Ball out. You know, that's very American based. Here, not as much. Like people are more reserved. Right. So I remember, was it John Oliver who said like England is kind of like the rough draft for America? Yeah, I think it was the one who made that joke. He goes, yeah, England's kind of like the phase one, America's like the finished version. So so that is one difference which I would say, which is good, because like a lot of the stuff you guys do over there, we kind of say, okay, cool. How can we adapt that and do that over here or do something similar? Which is why when Keys and EYL and all them boys came over in London, like they had like such a big following. Like how many people? It looked like, to be honest, it looked like 3,000 people came out. Real talk. And I was like, yo. But what I didn't like was like some of the people who turned up are like, they didn't even know. They just saw, yo, it's a vibe. Let's join in. I was like, you guys don't even know who some of these guys are. I was like, you don't even know who Keys is. And you're here. You're in this queue. You shouldn't be in this queue with me. You should be at home, you know? But so that's
It was so exciting. I know that whole thing was so exciting. How was it? It wasn't their first, was it their first?
I think it was, but I don't know. But I think it was, because I remember it's not Keys' first time. I know he's been to London a couple of times, because he's done a few interviews over here. What's her name that he did it with? I can't remember her name, but she's a pretty big not influencer, but I would say she's a big journalist, social media journalist, ZZ Mills. Yeah, she's a big social media journalist, I would say. And she kind of like pushes the envelope on a lot of things that she says, because she kind of says a lot of things that people are thinking, but some people don't necessarily feel they have the authority to say, where she just goes out and speaks her mind. And I like her a lot for that sort of thing.
She like female Kanye West.
Similar to that, maybe not on Yeezy level, but she's similar to that. And I don't mean that in a bad thing. It's just like Yeezy is like genius level. Yeah, he's like genius level, even though sometimes some of the things are like, Yeezy, we don't know what you're talking about here, sir. But ZZ on her level, she's pretty dope. And on the flip side, the thing which I would say, which is a difference, at least in my experience, is I would probably say the racial factor. Because over here, carrying arms is not necessarily the thing. Like, it's not a case of you have a open carry or you have a carry license or stuff like that. It's just not the thing. Over here, it's pretty much, it's policing by consent as opposed to policing by force, right? So it's not a case of the moment you're stopped or that sort of thing. It's not as, what would I say, as aggressive is what I would say. I'm not saying that it's great, but it's not as aggressive sort of thing. And it's primarily because of that difference between policing by consent and policing by force, right? Whereas you guys have more policing by force, and because of how the foundation for the states were with the whole, was it Second Amendment, and what's the amendment where you can carry arms? Is it Fifth Amendment? Can't remember now. But
you're the lawyer, and I'm here. I should know. No, it is.
I want to say.
I think it's
I think it might be
Fifth
Fifth
Amendment.
Amendment, which is the right to bear arms. But whichever one it is,
Yeah.
whichever one it is, like, obviously that is part of your constitution. Over here, it isn't. There's nothing like that sort of thing. Like, so just because of that, the level of, I guess, again, aggression is different. Yeah, you do have some douchebags on both parts, but again, I don't think it's on the same level, at least in my experience.
Wow. So this is quite refreshing. I feel smarter every day. You can learn a lot. For real. Like, seriously, you can learn a lot from a good conversation.
Definitely.
Like, no joke. I had no clue. So explain to me, what does policing by
consent?
What does that look
policing by consent is more a case of, I'm not carrying anything, you're not necessarily carrying anything. You may, but that's not, like, you have different levels. The armed police, they only tend to come out when there is a situation. Like, say there was a riot, or say there was like a threat, stuff like that. That's when you tend to see them. Usually you just see the normal guys who is just like, maybe they have a baton and they have their cuffs and stuff. And it's just like, you can have conversations with some of them, and it's just normal conversations sort of thing. So if somebody does something and it's kind of like, I'll give you this example. Say someone, how do you guys call it? Shoplifted in say the shopping center, right? They're gonna get chased. It basically becomes a foot race, right? Who can catch who, right? That's the first go-to. The cops may have tasers and stuff like that, but that's not the immediate reaction. It's kind of like, oh, I need to chase this guy down and catch him. And so they'll coordinate. It kind of becomes a case of cat and mouse. Whereas police by aggression, you may not necessarily get that chase. It may be straight to what's on my left or what's on my right. Exactly. Or I told you to stop, you should have stopped. Like, that sort of scenario is not as prevalent in terms of even going back to the person who's going to be chasing you. They may not even be carrying, just because it's a normal day in the it's a normal day at the store. So they will probably just walk in the beat normally, and they get called in that, oh, someone's chasing. And even before they even get called in, it would have to be the security in the actually shopping center who has to call them. And those guys, as far as I know, I don't know of any situation where they've actually called for them to come through. So it's usually them doing the foot race. So you could actually just stop and just watch and say, who's running, who's faster? Oh, he juked him. Oh, he's going. He took a left, he took a right. Oh, he left you for dead. That's kind of what it is. And even when you get caught, it's not a case of it's coming to blows and stuff like that. Usually everyone's like, hey, he got caught. That's kind of what it is. And yeah, you get a write-up. You might get like maybe a night in a slam or something like that. Sometimes they just let you go. Like, I've seen them. Like, I saw like there were these two kids, and They went in and tried to get some stuff, and like the guards came in, and literally as he came, he said, "Is the security not working today?" And they were like, "Oh no, he's off today," sort of thing. And he was like, "All right, you two, oi, get out." So, and that was it. You know,
Right.
that was it. It was like, right,
Right.
both of you get out, scram, and that was it. And they went off, continued their life. He went back to his thing, and that was it. You know, so that's why I say by aggression and by consent are two different things, at least from my experience.
Very
Yeah.
different. Very different. I had no clue it was like that. I might go over there and visit and just say,
I mean, I'm sure there are some parts where there might be more aggression, which I'm pretty sure, because as Myron says, there are two sides to every coin. So that even if one side seems as the more prevalent one, there must be other parts where it's not like that. So, but I think for the most part, I would probably say that is the infrastructure. That is the overview general of it's by consent. And then the bad eggs who want to do unnecessary aggression, they will probably be there too. But so far, yeah.
So I would say, listening to that story, there's no such thing as mass incarceration.
No, that's
all
that is still there. That is still here, but it's not, again, it's not on the same level. And now that comes back to the system's working effectively. That's why, as Kanye would say, the system is also similar in that they do try and get the melanin homies, the melanin, like, if you can destroy that sort of unit, obviously it affects each generation coming after, because you've already put them on a back foot, right? So that sort of stuff does still happen. Where the problem is, and this is for us as our community, the melanin community, I feel it's not a case of looking for outside help. I feel it is an internal thing. Like, yes, when you only know one particular route of making paper, that may be the only thing that you're aware of. But opening people's minds to see, the other things you can do. You can do blockchain, you can do digital stuff, you can set up a company doing speaking engagements, you can set up a company doing something else. Those options, when they become more available or more ingrained within the community, that's when you get less of the mass incarceration, or let's try and get as many more of these people from this community into our system so that we can make paper off of them. That part, I think that part all over the world where you are not necessarily from that place, I think that's just how it is in general, right? The solution, I think, and I remember listening to this. Who was it that said it? And if Maker's here, Maker would probably be able to attest to this. The guy was saying, it was like a meme on TikTok or something, and he was saying something like, the more melanin folks have life insurance and that sort of protection, the less there will be all these wrongful deaths and wrongful shootings and all of that. Because, and the guy goes, the reason he says that is because life insurance companies have the best lawyers who don't want to pay. So they're going to go after the person who's causing the fault, forcing them to pay, right? And I was like, you know what? That actually makes sense. But unfortunately, within our communities, like, I didn't really know about life insurance up until like maybe last year. And me and Maker had a good conversation about it and stuff like that. But I didn't know much about it. And then he was like, oh yeah, if you have this, you can do this. You've got a different type of life insurance. And I was like, if you actually think about it, that makes sense.
Wow.
You know? So
it may be just as simple as, because there's a girl here, I don't know, let me hold on to that thought. You got a few people. You are so popular. Oh, yay. I'm not ignoring y'all. This conversation is just good. So, he was saying, and I didn't want to interrupt him. So, since he paused, um, shout outs to the UK. That's from Max.
Max, my guy.
You guys, Swedish Gems. She was in agreement with you. Fashion forward, musical genius.
Thank you, y'all.
What else? What else? Oh, you did see my world up. I don't know what that means. Then I see Mogul Mike.
Mogul Mike in the building.
Same thing you said. Like Akila is showing out. She's been everywhere. I love it. I'm the
omnipresent Akila, Mrs. Cashflows. That's what's up. Shout out to everyone up in here. Shout out to all the peeps. Shout out to Max as well. He's just dropped something, his ebook for artists. So if any artists are up in here, make sure you go check them out. Mogul Mike.
Ooh, what type of ebook you got?
Oh yeah, actually, you guys should speak. You guys should actually speak.
Yeah, Max.
Yeah.
Yep. D Max. Let's
yeah.
connect.
See, I'm connecting people out here.
That's what we do. You know what? I'm so excited for our community. Like, I can literally see the people in the community and all the energy that I get from you guys. I cannot wait to see what we're going to produce, because we're all like sharing our gifts in the world. And I can literally visualize and see like, ooh, oh yeah, by this time next year, he's going to be doing this. Like when I hear you talk and I hear other people talk and I hear how they're growing, that's literally what I'm saying to myself. Like, I can't wait to see who arise out of that circle coming out of the pandemic, just like the Phoenix.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Like, I know so many businesses that during just this pandemic alone just went like all the way up. Obviously, there were a lot that didn't survive, but the ones that went all the way up, some of them even just started. Like the guys who started selling masks, just those guys alone, they blew up, you know? And it was just like, who was it that said it? Never let a good disaster go to waste. It was something like that. I thought that was such a cynical statement, but the truth of the matter is some things can be good opportunities, you know? So yeah, shout out to everyone who is in here trying to do their thing, run their biz, and get it all the way up. We out here. We outside.
you
yeah, I see Mogul Mike. I'm all the way up. Yes. Synergy, Mogul Mike.
Yes. So it's actually, I love that you said that. That has just really kind of just changed my perspective on the entire thing, because I don't know if you ever heard of Slutty Vegan.
Yes, they're in ATL, aren't they?
Yeah, how did you hear about her? She's like here in Atlanta.
How did I hear of Slutty Vegan? It was a combination of Shade Room, David Shands, and because I think she was on Social Proof and something else. I feel like some of the girls I know over here probably must have mentioned Slutty Vegan in conversation and stuff. But throughout that sort of collabo, that's how I know of them.
Don't quote me, but I want to say she was on the radio one day, and I want to say, so don't chew me out. If I'm not mistaken, it was a large number, right? She was giving away free life insurance and paying the policy off for like 150,000 black men or something like that.
That's what's up.
You understand what I'm saying? So we always want to give back. And I've been sitting here like, you really gave me something to think about. Like, no joke. Because I was sitting up watching Neo's live, not live, live every day. Neo's interview with Dave, and I really just don't have time to watch any podcasts, but I actually kind of been watching his it was an older one too at that. And he was just talking about as being a kid, like how he didn't make much money selling fruit, because how much money can you sell fruit for? $1 fruit, right? And he said they would go once a week, him and his mother would be like, okay, you're making money now, so now you have to give back. And he said they would take like $50 and go feed the homeless. And he said he would look like, wow, $50 can feed all these people. And it was sort of like ingrained in him to just give back. Like, and he made me feel bad because I feel like I need to do something to do more. Right? Like when my son was in grade school and everything like that, like I would volunteer for stuff like that, but only when it's convenient for me. Like I don't like really go out of my way to volunteer like I should. Yeah, that's huge that she was getting the life insurance policies back like that. And we think to give back with coat drives, school supplies and stuff like that. But economically, what's really truly going to drive us forward is that life insurance policy.
Because you make yourself a more valuable asset automatically.
See, you just inspired me to keep going.
Keep going. You're on the path. Keep going. Keep going.
That was amazing. I had posted in our group in the morning meetup one morning. I was like, they were like, yeah, Keely, you going live? I was like, man, I need a social media manager. And then Jose gonna put the mean face on there, like, no, just keep doing it.
Exactly. The more you do, and this is something which I learned on my journey. The more you do something, the better you eventually become. The problem I think a lot of us have, and I just mean people in general in the world, is we try and get perfect on the first go as opposed to progression. Like progression over perfection anytime, because one step forward is better than you thinking you get it perfect. Same reason why Dave always says you don't want to go viral yet, because you don't want to be a one-hit wonder and then everyone comes back to check out your stuff and it's like, there's nothing else to check here. All right, cool, on to the next one. You know, like when I always tell people this, like whenever I have a chance and it's relevant. When I listened to Jigga, the first time I heard Jay-Z, I'd heard him before, but the first time I listened to him properly was on volume 2. So that was like 98, but he's been out since 96. So I was like, yo, this guy's dope. Hard Knock Life, this is dope. Right. You know, all these songs are dope. Let me see what else this guy has. That's when I went back. So I was able to go back and see everything else he had and then come back to volume 2. Had he not had anything else, I'd be like, okay, this is cool. Maybe I would have forgot about him. You know, but it's the exact same thing when you look at Myron. I'm sure, like I'll say for myself, the first time I heard Myron, I went on YouTube. I was like, who is this dude? You know, the first time I heard of Myron wasn't, and this is such a funny story, and I don't think he may not remember this, but we were both in Clubhouse. And have you used Clubhouse?
I'm trying.
Right. Okay. So how Clubhouse works is there's a stage in a room. So the person whose room it is, they'll be on the stage. And then underneath you have all the people who are listening. So like here on live, me would be on the stage and then everybody else who's in would be listening to us. So I was in the audience listening to the person on stage or the people on stage. And then Myron comes in and he's beside me in the Clubhouse room, right? And I was like, oh, this guy looks cool. And then next thing, literally within 2 seconds, the lady, and I remember her name was something like Credit Ninja. She goes, Myron's in the building. Yo, we need to bring him up on stage. I was like, who is this guy? why is everyone, and like everyone on stage was like, yo, we need to bring him up. Next thing, within like 2 seconds, he was up on stage. And then he started spitting some gems. I was like, yo, this guy is dope. So then what I did was I went on YouTube. I just typed in his name, Myron Golden. I was just, everything he dropped, I was like, yeah, this guy's fire, you know. But that is how it works in reality in your biz and everything else. That's why when you start dropping your lives, you start doing stuff in your social media and people are seeing it like, yo, what else does she have? That's when they'll probably click your link in bio. That's when they'll probably Google you and all these other things.
So you said with my social media, that's
all right. Okay, cool. So yeah, with your social media, obviously the more content you're giving out and stuff. So when people hear about you or they see one of your videos, maybe a reel, like, yo, who's this girl? She's dropping all these gems. Let me go back and check her. And then they see all your stuff. And then they click your link in bio, then they Google your name, then all these things happen. And then obviously we already know you're a celebrity, but you become even more of a celebrity, you know, that sort of thing. So.
And may I say something, right? Why I just have the utmost respect for you. The first week, I was putting the cart before the horse. The first week, I was doing exactly what you're speaking of. I was trying to just get digital products and put them on autopilot and skip this part. Do you remember? So the first time, I was like, hey, I need a sales funnel and I need an ebook, and I'm just going to do the sales funnel. So you're like, hey, maybe just start posting content first. You know, did I do that? No. I set up a call with, you were the first person I set a call up with. Then I had the opportunity to talk to Words Taylor. And then I had the opportunity to talk to Jose. And all three of you were saying the same thing.
Oh, gosh.
I'm like, I don't want to be on social media, right? Well, I just can't sell a book without social media. And you're like, Akila, post for a couple of weeks, then come back, and then we can see where you're at. We can then at that point. And you were so nice and patient about it, right? Now it's laughable, but at the time, I was like, why I just can't sell this book? Like, why must I post videos? Like, what part of the game is this?
What
Like,
part
why
of the game is this?
And it did not click until I spoke to Jose, even though you guys were saying the same thing. And Jose said exactly what you just said, but in a different way. You all were telling me the same thing in different ways, in various ways. Okay, say you do get someone that's interested, you know, from the funnel. They're going to Google you, and then they're going to go to your Instagram, and they're going to see that you have nothing to continue to feed them. So they're going to think you're a scam or whatever. You have nothing to keep them there. Even if they do buy the book, you have nothing to continue to educate them with. I was like, oh, okay, I got it. So guess what I did? I just left the book and the funnel fully built out. Because Jose was like, why do you keep talking about a funnel? You don't have any content. So my question is, how do you guys deal with people like me on a daily basis and then just reel us back in? Obviously, you're an expert at it because you said it with such grace, you know, like, hey, you're just not ready yet. It's okay. Start here, and then once you're at a certain level, come back and see me. I'm like, okay.
Well, first of all, I appreciate the kind words. Me personally, I'm all about group economics, and I always want my peeps to win. Like, that's just me 100%. So I will always tell you what is right for you in my perspective, based on my experience. And I do the same thing with people who hit us up and like, yo, I need to get a website. I need to have this funnel set up, and then I need the ads, and I need an app, right? But I'm like, okay, those are dope. Like, those are really dope. And then I start asking the questions. I'm like, okay, cool. So what is your lifetime value of your customer? What's that? What's the lifetime value? Okay. I say, okay, what is the average income of your business? Oh, we ain't making paper just yet. We're not making money just yet. We don't have an income. Okay, cool. Do you have any sort of revenue? Says, no, but I know once I create a website, the traffic people are going to come to the site, and then it's going to be through the roof, and we're going to make sales and whatever. Because I saw an ad about Shopify, and on Shopify, the guy made like $1 million in like 30 days, and this other guy made $100,000 in like 60 days. And like, so like, I just know I'm like, okay, cool. Now I know that you've fallen into the matrix bubble where all that stuff has kind of made you think that this is how it works, whereas it doesn't work like that. So the first thing I say is, you don't need a website just yet. You don't. You don't have a proof of concept just yet. You don't. What I say to that sort of person is I say, go on something like Card, which is CARRD. You can create a site for yourself, which is like $9. It's not going to be something that we would do, but it's something that is good enough for the level that you're at, right? And you can use that to do a proof of concept, because you need to make sure that what you're trying to provide to the market in the way you're trying to provide it is something that the market wants. If they don't want it, then there's no amount of how good it is. The market doesn't need it, or the market doesn't demand it. So because of that, you're not going to have a business that is sustainable, right? So that's the first thing I say to them. I was like, you need to get to a point where you actually have a business that is actually generating a level of income. That means that once you get a site that's performing at a high level for you, that has the funnels, that has the attraction qualities, that has your content distribution system, that has a way for you to track people, that has all your email sequences set up, at that point, really, we're putting like a rocket on a Ferrari and you're just flying, you know? That's the point I try and get people to, because we do have, and this is where your messaging comes in to play very well. Your messaging needs to be able to repel the people you don't want and attract the people that you do. So when we say high performance websites for high performance businesses, if you're not a high performance business, then you're not necessarily at the point where you should be getting a high performance website just yet, right? Now, you do have some startups that have capital, like they've been invested in because what they have is such a novel idea that a VC company, venture capital, thinks we're going to drop $2 million to these guys in a Series A, and we know that what they're going to do is going to take everything to the next level, and then we're just going to buy them out for 50 mil, and then we're going to take the company to 100 mil, and then we as the VC, we're going to sell it for $1 billion, right? So that's a high level thinking process that I know venture capitalists have. Now, if that company is coming to us and they say, this is our blah, 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 we have a Series A of 2 mil, we need a site and all these other things. I'm like, okay, cool. The venture capitalist has already done all their due diligence and they've told you everything and they see a plan, because they're not going to invest 2 mil if they don't see a plan. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now with you guys, here's where you need to start at. You need a site that, first of all, sets you apart from your competition. So position yourself as a Rolex, because everybody's going to want to come to you. And I say this to everybody. Position yourself high, because the guy who owns a yacht, middle management guy, homeless guy, all three of them would like to have a Rolex. Yacht guy can walk in and buy his Rolex. Middle management guy has to save, but he still likes a Rolex. Homeless guy, unfortunately, he may not be able to buy it, but he'd be happy if he finds this on the side of the road. But all three of them would love to have a Rolex. So position yourself as a Rolex, first of all. Next thing, we need to have your client attraction features. Let's put a funnel within the site that's going to serve one particular service. Aside from that, let's have another funnel that's going to serve another particular service. You need to have all these other things within that funnel, which is going to actually make it very profitable for the business. So someone comes in, let's say with you, you have a book. They come in, we say, okay, cool, we're going to give you a free checklist on how to avoid the 5 biggest mistakes on credit repair, right? Boom, you come in for that. Awesome. Next thing, you get to a page that says, hey, did you know if you're trying to do your credit repair, blah, 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 you could do this, this, and this, and this. I've created this guide and this ebook, which is $97, and you could, $37. You could just get it and it'll show you how to do all these things. Cool. So now you've come in for something for free, up to something now that's $37. So you pay it $37. On the next page, you get an order bump. Hey, do you want to listen to this audiobook of what you just bought? So you don't have to read it, but you can listen to me telling it to you for an extra $17. So now you've gone from $37 to plus $17. Now you're around the $50 mark. Now you have something else underneath that. I say, hey, by the way, here's some tools you might need, and here's how to get them. And here's a few of them, which I've got for free, that you could just buy. So you have all of them as a bundle. And that is what? $50. So now you've got $37, $17, $50. So now suddenly, instead of that person coming in for free, they're now at almost $100 mark, right? So now let's say they get
Yeah.
all those things, the average call value has gone from being free to now being $100, right? At that point, they can then go up to something else, which could be, hey, we can do all of this stuff for you at our higher level day training or whatever service we're going to call it for 5Gs.
Plug in
Huh?
plug in my business. Plug in my business right there. Is this where my accelerated business credit builder
This is
program
where it
would
would go. This is where your high
ticket.
ticket would go for 5 grand, 10 grand, or 15 grand. Yeah, that's where it goes. So that person has come in for free to now $37 to now $17 order bump to another $50 order bump to now being $100. Paid all of that and was like, oh, by the way, there's also this option over here. If you want to work with us, you can apply. So they've got their $100, which they paid for. They're happy with that. And if they're gems with that $100, they're like, you know what? I got this free stuff. It was amazing. Blew my mind. I got this other thing. It was so amazing. This other thing here, oh my God, why don't I just get Akila to just do it for me? Because I could see she knows, like, this is $100 I paid and I've got some wins. Why don't I just get her to do the whole thing for me? Boom. Let me hit her up with that accelerator, that 5Gs. Okay, cool. Let me pay the 5Gs and let's go. Boom. I get the solution that I desire in a more quicker time, accelerated, because she knows exactly what it is that she's doing. Now, you, as a startup with 2 mil and you've got all of that set up, makes sense, as opposed to someone who doesn't have any of that set up and is looking to get that sort of setup created for them, spend 10 G's on it when they don't yet have a business. In terms of etiquette and in terms of moral compass and just your emotional intelligence, it doesn't make sense for me to say, yeah, give us 10 G's when you don't have anything for you to actually take the 10 G's that we create for you, the site we create for you, and use it. It's like, yeah, we're going to build you a Rolls Royce. Yeah, we're going to get you a Ferrari. We're going to make that 100%. But if you don't know how to drive it, then it's just going to sit in your garage, you know? So it doesn't make sense. So you have to be able to repel the people who aren't for you and attract the people who are. But even like I said, when you're a Rolex, yacht guy, management guy, homeless guy, all want you, but you can also have something for all of them. For instance, when you go to Rolls Royce, you could go and buy a Rolls Royce. At the same time, you could get a Rolls Royce cap. If you're not able to buy the Rolls Royce, you can get the cap. You're like, yo, I didn't get the Rolls Royce. I didn't get the Ghost. I didn't get the Cullinan, but I got a cap, you know? So I got a little bit of the experience. I got to test drive the car. Now that creates in my head, I want to buy that car. So I need to go back, work on myself, get to that point where I can come back and buy it. You feel me? But they've still got something for you if you can't buy the Rolls Royce just yet. You can get the cap or you can get a t-shirt.
Exactly. You can get the ebook. You can start educating
Feel me?
yourself. Yes. So I have a question. What do you feel about someone, say for instance, they want to purchase like a portal or a software of some sort? It's quite expensive, but what it will do, like, it's something that I'm thinking about for myself, right? It will walk my clients through the entire credit builder process and take me out of it, right? This way, and then customer service will like call them and make sure that they're doing everything that they need to do, and checklists. So it'll be like tiered up. So as they build their credit, they'll be like, oh, okay, your score is here. Like that'll all be automated on the back end. In my mind, it makes sense to do something like that because it'll be more efficient. And I have several clients, you know, like ready to go with that. Do you think that's a wise investment, or should I manually do it until I get the capital? But having that system would allow me to accept these 3 people all at the same time, and I'll get a profit immediately.
So what the actual portal does is it gets the people in and it does everything. So basically you are hands off straight away. You literally just say, okay, cool, come work with me. and then you give them, hey, here's the portal, you go in there, and then the people who manage the portal will then do everything else, right? Okay.
Yes, they will be their customer service rep. They will be their accountability partners. They will be there on them to coach them to get them through to the next level.
Have you been
Yes.
through the portal yourself?
I'm about to go through the portal.
No,
myself.
what I mean is, have you been through the portal yourself as a customer? So as one of the people you would be passing through into the portal, have you been through that same process with that company to see how they work yet?
I'm about to
Okay.
do it now, and I have a couple of people in my camp that has
Okay.
used them, who kind of like referred me to them, and they're quite. It's some pretty big names who use them too.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing I
so
would always say is, any supplier I'm gonna use as a supplier to somebody else, I would first test as much as possible with myself first.
mhm.
If it works,
Okay.
and it works the way you expect it to work, and the problems that you face are solved by them, then it might be a worthwhile investment. It might be a worthwhile investment, provided at the same time the people who are coming in that you're going to use, or you're going to pass them to use it, when they go
Yes.
through it, and if there are any problems that they face, they don't say, oh, I'm not going to blame that company, I'm blaming Aquila.
Yeah, I am the
Okay.
company. Yeah, they know nothing about
It's
that's
just the back end.
end.
All right, cool. Well, the first thing I would say, first thing is test it on yourself, see if it works. Look for as many mistakes or as many problems as you can, because that's the only way you can kind of battle test something to see if it's going to stand up in
Mhm.
war, as we like to say. Battle test it. If it passes the battle
Yeah.
test, then it can stand in war. If it passes that, then I would probably pass one person through it, see how they do. If it passes, then you can pass everybody else through. But that is one side. The other thing you also need to kind of think about is, like you said, you might get a profit straight away. So there is the opportunity cost of you giving that investment, and then you say you will get a profit. What is the space between you putting that investment down and you getting a profit back?
Like one client.
One client. And is it immediate, or is it a case of that one client has to be with this company for 2 months?
So no. Honestly, answering that question, it would be like the cost of 1.5
Okay.
clients.
Okay. And when that client goes through it, it's a case of, Aquila, you brought us this client, even though we are doing it on the back end as you, here's your whatever, here's your payment straight away. It's not a case of, Aquila, these guys have to be with us for 2 months.
White label
Huh?
service. Yeah, it's a total white label service. Like,
Oh, so
payments
it's
are
direct to you,
direct
and
to
there's
me.
no.
The one-time payment, that's it. I'm just buying their software and their
Yeah,
infrastructure, and that's it. I'm just taking their
Yeah.
white labeling. People don't understand what white label is.
Yeah.
You and me understand.
Yeah,
what
white
that is.
labeling for anyone.
So,
Yeah, go on, you explain it.
yeah. I'll let you explain it. You're the expert.
We're
Go ahead.
both experts in our different industries. So white labeling
Yes.
is basically when you have the company behind you that's actually doing the thing that I am saying I do. So let's say I say we make airplanes, right? I say we make airplanes. Welcome to Oye's engineering. We make airplanes. What airplanes do you need? But really and truly, I've got to deal with Rolls-Royce behind me that's actually going to make the airplanes, right? So that is me white labeling Rolls-Royce service to use as Oye's engineering. That is what white labeling is in a nutshell.
Got it. Yes. And so I like the fact that it's a one-time fee and they're just giving me the software in the back end. Where, like most people, they try to continue to rank up monies on you.
Mogul Mike
Mike
looks like he says you should do it, but he does say there is a strategy. Whatever Mogul Mike would say, I would also listen to Oh, yes, tag me in, coach. Yeah, whatever Mogul Mike says, I would definitely say that because Mogul Mike has a whole different level of strategy on a lot of things.
Okay. Okay, I'll hit you
Yeah,
up, Mogul. I'll hit
definitely
you up.
tapping with Mogul Mike, 100%.
Oh yeah, I have his number. I'll hit you up, Mogul. So for the newbie
Hmm.
entrepreneur, as we just take you back just a question or two, when you were saying like, because there was the exact same experience you had with me, trying to put the cart before the horse, buy all these systems, and we didn't have the foundation nor the infrastructure in place. In our minds, we're thinking that all this automation and all this systems is going to sell the product for us. What will you say the number one thing that, or the top three things that a new entrepreneur should work on when beginning? Like, speaking like in my case, like, let me reframe that. What three things should an entrepreneur work on that results in the client purchasing from them? Like, what are the things that customers look for when they decide to
Okay, so the
buy?
first thing I would say is whatever your art is, whatever that thing is going to be, whether it's credit repair, whether it's speaking, whether it's virtual assistant services, whatever your art is, you need to make sure you've mastered it to a good enough level that I'm not saying it has to be perfect because I don't necessarily believe anything's perfect. I think you keep evolving and getting better at stuff. So get it to the point where you can actually create a transformation and create a result. Once you've got it to that point and a profitable transformation and a profitable result for the customer, that is probably the most important thing because you can then build on top of that, right? Once you're able, that is the first thing I would say to anyone, get to that point. Next thing I will also say is make sure it is something, actually no, make sure it is something that the market demands. That's the first thing. Make sure it's something the market demands. Get it to the point where you can you can create that transformation or you can create a result, then be able to create your own hype, i.e. learn how to do the marketing. Marketing is probably the one skill most of us entrepreneurs don't have that is crucial for our business to actually be a business. You need to be able to create your own hype. I was at a sneaker convention today and I was saying like there's so many people here at the sneaker conventions, there's so many vendors, so many stalls, and I was like, but they're all essentially selling the same sneakers. There were a couple that had one or two that were different, like a Jordan 6's here and a Jordan 6 that I hadn't seen before, like the Travis Scott version. But that was like out of maybe 100, maybe 3 of them had those sort of things. And I was thinking, imagine if one of these guys had gone on their social media, created hype about them being at this event, created valuable content that was helping particular customers within their audience get to different solutions. And then they were like, yo, we're going to be at this event. In my opinion, that process would be able to set them apart from everybody else, even though they may be selling the exact same thing. People would just come there, be like, yo, I saw you on Instagram. You would talk about blah, 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 and how I can get the new Yeezys if I go to these stores and that store and that store, if I'm in America. And yo, that was such great content. What have you got currently? Or yo, do you know anyone in the store who can actually help me get the Yeezys and stuff like that? Like that store or that stall that did that, again, even though they may be selling the exact same thing as everybody else, they would have had more people come to them for that, just because of that valuable content that they put out. But that is being able to create your own hype, your own marketing. That's when you're able to do that and you're able to cause a transformation for the customer and it's something that the market wants. Those 3 things together combined, you will most likely be unstoppable for the next 10 years until something else comes in that you have to learn to make sure you evolve. For instance, we're really dope at what we do, but Web 3.0 is here, and so is blockchain. Now, for maybe another 5 to 10 years, we can still be top of the game, But after that, if we're not in Web 3.0, when we're not in blockchain or anything like that, we're going to be like, yo, they were dope a couple years back, they're not as dope now. It's the new guys who are in Web 3.0 who are on this, this, and this. So get to the point where you have all those three things combined and be ready for the next thing to come in that you need to be able to learn to take you for another 10 years. And then the next 10 years after that, and so on and so forth. Because before our era, it was Web 1.0. And those were the websites that we created in like the 90s. And they looked horrible. Like they looked terrible, you know, but for that era, they were dope. Then Web 2.0, which is our era, social media and all these other things. Web 3.0 is the next era coming through. So I would say, make sure the market demands what you have. Make sure you're able to cause a transformation or create a result for your customers. Make sure you can create your own hype in your marketing and be ready to learn and evolve for the next thing that's going to come through. All those four things combined, as an entrepreneur, you will be able to figure out almost everything else for yourself.
Awesome. That brings me to these
Hit me up.
questions.
I got time today.
Yeah. So number one, how do we keep track? What system do you use to keep track of like testimonials and things of that nature?
Real talk. My testimonials primarily between the company and myself and stuff. It's what people have left us on LinkedIn, what people have DM'd us, what people have emailed us. That really is it. Like voice notes and all those sort of things. Whereas in reality, we should actually be using something like Video Ask and getting people to do that to actually send us video testimonials. Or when someone's actually saying to us, yo, you're so dope, we're so glad, blah, 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 we should be recording that. One thing I would say is Video Ask is a good tool for that. Zoom, just set your recording on Zoom to record automatically, because you get to a point within a conversation where someone's like, either if you're able to help them or you're giving gems, they'll be like, yo, that is so dope. Yo, I didn't know that. Yo, thank you so much. Even if it's a free consultation, that is your video testimonial right there for you to take and put on your website or put on whatever it is that you need to. And that is something you can do for free. You don't need to pay for anything to get Zoom. You can just sign up and you get Zoom. Do your free consultation or your free call or whatever it is on Zoom, your strategy call, your strategy session, boom. And that little section where the person's like, yo, Akila, that is amazing. I did not know this. I didn't know I could take myself to a 800 credit score by just doing this, this, and this. Like, yo, I love you, blah, 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 blah. That part, that's your testimony right there. That'll probably be like maybe 30 seconds to a minute. And you can put that on your Instagram. You can put that on your website. You can put it anywhere else, you know, and that's you done.
I hope y'all taking notes like me. Number two, how do we do market research?
How do you do market research? Now, that's going to depend on the industry that you're in. So give me a couple of industries.
Let's say you have a t-shirt brand.
Okay, so if I have a t-shirt brand, what is my t-shirt selling?
No,
hit me, because there will be people.
No, since I am the interviewer, I didn't want to be selfish, but I am. I don't even want to think about anybody else's business. How will I conduct a solid market research plan for? Because see, I was good on real estate. I know how to do it in real estate. That's my background, right? It may be similar, but I want to hear, your thoughts on this. So, of how many entrepreneurs will actually go through my program, and what's the demand? What I see in my immediate circle, oh yeah, it's a demand. They're like, I don't have business credit. I don't have this. And I'm like, what? You're gonna be bankrupt like me. Have you been listening to my story? It works. You're using cash. It works until it doesn't. And then now you're looking like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, yeah. So that's how I'm doing my research, because it was kind of like, I thought I was going to be away from the camera and And these people were like, hey, well, can you help me out? And I'm like, yeah, I can. And it would have been me holding on to my gifts, everything that I learned. And I just was going to throw all that away and just be happy in my home healthcare business. And I would not be talking to you right now. Wouldn't have been any lives. It just would have been, sad, right? So how does one perform? And you know what? An answer is coming to my brain as I'm talking to you. Thank you for taking this interview. But I want to hear what you have to say. How should I conduct market research on people, entrepreneurs who I feel needs business credit and funding, but how do I know if they actually will pull the trigger?
Okay, so the way my brain works, like there are a couple things that I was like, I need to talk about. So two things I want to talk about, and if Max or anyone in here, please remind me when I finish. I want to talk about the t-shirt thing, because there'll be someone listening to this who wants to figure out for their t-shirt. And what was the other thing? Your yoga. It was yoga, right?
I did do yoga before. I do yoga. I'm
exactly. And I remember you asked this question, and I was like, oh, I need to message her, but I totally forgot.
Oh yeah, my question was, should I take my yoga off?
And I was.
You know why I asked before you answer? I started looking at the analytics, the insight. Up until I took the yoga off, 60-something% of my followers were men. So I was like, I hope.
It's lit.
I was like, how do I have a high 60%? And I was like, I think it's this yoga.
No comment.
No cap. Oh yeah. And when I took the yoga down and decreased, now I'm not kidding you. Now I'm getting people in the fashion industry, salon owners, but I am attracting business owners. So obviously I'm doing that right. But please go ahead and answer the question.
Cool. So when I finish this, I'm going to go back to yoga as part of your business and the t-shirts. So yeah, everyone please remind me about that. Now go back to your question about the market research. You want to figure out how you can get people who are interested in your business to actually pull the trigger. Was that the question? As in to do the market research?
Correct. It is the question, but you stated, find out if that thing is in demand.
Yeah.
How do I find out if what I'm trying to sell is actually...
Okay, first things first is you can go and check Amazon and check eBay and put the keywords of the main keyword of your thing, which would be credit repair, not credit repair for real estate or credit repair for entrepreneurs. Not just put credit repair, like put the root keyword, as we say in SEO, put the root keyword in, see what comes up on Amazon. Are there books? Are there bestsellers? Are there this and that? First thing, go on eBay, do the exact same thing. Go on Audible, do the exact same thing. See what's coming up, see what the top choices are, see what the top people are in this space. First thing.
All right, so whether you're a business owner providing a service or you're an e-commerce business with products, you need a website. You're a business owner, which means your website is an asset that's meant to work for you round the clock, no lunch breaks. It should position you as the expert, attract the right type of customers, and have a system in place for those potential customers to book you for appointments, pay you for consultations and other services, as well as buy your products on your website. And even when someone doesn't pay you right there and then, it should have a follow-up system in place that allows you to collect that lead and then convert that lead later on down the line. And all of this needs to happen automatically in the background. Now, high performance businesses are the type of clients who tend to need these solutions, and they're the type of clients we already work with. So If you're in the 5-figure range, or you're already doing 6 to 7 figures, but you know you're not yet taking full advantage of the internet in the way that's right for your particular business, the solution is this. You need a high performance client attraction website for your high performance business. One that's custom made to work for you 24/7, whilst you focus on growing and scaling your business. So go to www.oyemadeit.com/performance, select the option for web design. Alternatively, you can go and click the link in the description, or there should be a link in my bio on Instagram. Remember, this is not for everyone. This is for businesses who are looking to level up, scale up their business, and stop leaving money on the table. We work with businesses that are a right fit and those that we believe we can help achieve their business and financial goals. So that's oyemadeit.com, oyemadeit.com/performance, or there should be a link in the description below, or there's the link in my bio on Instagram. We look forward to hearing from you and working with you. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Now, when you have a list of, I'd say on eBay, get a list of 10, get a list on Amazon of 10, get a list on Audible of 10. And you don't have to do this yourself. You can actually just pay a VA to do this for you. Then those authors that you've got a list of on eBay, Amazon, and Audible, have your researcher go and see what services those guys are providing, each one of them. Right? So all they need to do is go to their website and see what these guys are doing. Boom, 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 boom. Right? That's another level. So
Yes.
now you've got what the books are. You now have the authors. You now see what the authors are providing. Right? You now have a list of things that are working. Now you will then see a trend from all those authors where they're doing almost the exact same thing or the exact same services, just based on their own style or their own essence, right? Jay-Z is a rapper, Nas is a rapper, Big is a rapper, Pac was a rapper. All those guys are rappers, but they all do it in their own different way. Steph Curry's a baller, MJ's a baller, LeBron's a baller, D-Wade is a baller, but they all ball in their own different ways, but they're all ballers, right? So you would then start to see Kobe as well. You would then start to see a trend of what the main things are on all of them, right? Now, those things that you see as trends, they'll probably come to, I would say, somewhere between 5 and maybe 7 to 10 things, which would be some ebook, something else in between, a couple things, and then some mastermind. Like, essentially, that will be it. But you will see what those particular services are. Based on that, you can look at each individual service. You can just Google it and then see what else in the marketplace is happening. Like, who else is doing this? What price points are they selling at? Who are they selling to? What is the messaging that they're using, right? You would then be able to glean from that who is high level, who's mid-level, who's low level. You can then decide, I just want to focus on the high level guys and see what they're doing, and I will model myself based off of that. And then you then create your own packages based off of that.
This is so good. That is so
So
good.
that is how you could do market research to actually see if there is a demand. Oh, and the last thing is all those people who are the, let's say, the authors, you can actually, because usually on the website, they'll probably have blah, 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 copyright of blah, 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 blah company. You can then go and look at that company, give that to your accountant and say, hey, go check their tax returns or whatever, see how profitable they are, right? It's not necessarily the best thing because especially if you're like somebody who's on this call, you may have 5 different companies that the profit in one company is a different profit in another company, but it's all going up to a group company and the company is structured like that. So that may not necessarily be like the most accurate way, but you will still see if they are making profit. Now, not all of them are going to have such a structure that I just discussed, but you would still be able to see, your tax accountant would be able to see, okay, yeah, this company that you had us look at, yeah, they're making profit. This other one too is making profit. This other one's making profit. The other thing you can also use to check is if they're paying for advertising, if they're paying for Google ads, Facebook ads, all these other things, and they're doing it consistently, they are making paper to be able to pay for those ads, because those ads aren't free.
How do you know if they're doing that or not?
So if you go to their Facebook page, you go down to page transparency, you click on page transparency, it will see the ads that they're running, and then you can set it back to whenever they started. So say they started in 2017, you can see if they've been running ads from 2017 up until 2021. You can see if they're running the same ad from 2017 up until 2021.
Ooh, he's dropping the heat, Mogul Mike, isn't he? And then Mogul Mike in the background. It's also good content marketing research strategy as well.
He teaches his coaching program.
Yeah.
See, Mogul, that's why I keep saying, yo, listen to Mogul Mike. This guy, he's out here. He's got it.
Yeah, that was my next question, but he answered that. So I have two other questions for you. Like you were saying, make yourself marketable.
Yeah.
Right? What are some of the things you can do, and that copywriting that Mogul Mike mentioned, to like become and study marketing and how to market yourself, and to understand copywriting? Do you advise anyone to use anyone from like Fiverr or something like that and hire a copywriter? Or
a copywriter from Fiverr?
I think so. Yeah, some copywriters there, right?
Probably, because the thing about Fiverr is no longer just Fiverr. You could get a Fiverr to get people who actually charge more than a Fiverr, right? So actually, that is not a bad thing. But if we're talking copywriters specifically, I would go to people who, first of all, if I'm using Fiverr, I would talk about Fiverr, I'll talk about onlinejobs.ph, I'll talk about Upwork. The journey is the same. On each one, you want to see, if you type in, say, copywriter, you want to see what their ratings are by average ratings from other customers, as well as read the reviews, read the negative reviews first, if they have any, before the positives. The other thing you also want to do is you want to make sure, because if it's a Fiverr, if they pay 10 people $50, well, $5 each, which is $50, they can get 10 reviews. You want to look for people who have more than 10, preferably, and make sure that the reviews are verified reviews and you can see that they're from different countries. It's less likely in that scenario that they have fake reviews, right? Or they just paid $50 to a couple of friends and said, hey, you guys hit me up with like 10 reviews and here's $5 each, right? Which is something that can be done and probably is done. But you can, if you use this method where you check whether that they're verified, you check that they're coming from different countries, you can also check the actual work. Then on Fiverr, you should be able to find someone, and if they've been doing it for a long time, so say one review was in 2015 and they have like 50 more and 100 more going into 2020, 2021, 2022, you can say, okay, they've been consistent, right? Check the bad reviews as well, see if they make any mistakes that keep happening, because then you definitely don't want them. And then check the work that they've done. That's on Fiverr. Lastly, again, because we're talking copywriting, you want to make sure that this person can actually speak English to the level that you need them to be able to speak English too, right? 100%. Now, that same process we would do on Fiverr, we'll do on Online Jobs, we'll do on Upwork. But what we do differently, and this is for anyone who's looking to hire, where is this thing going? Anyone's looking to hire, you want to have, you want to be able, and I was literally just saying this to Jaleesa day before yesterday, you want to have a video, what's it called? A screen recording, where you actually say to the person in the screen recording, I'm looking for somebody who can do blah, 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 and blah, and I needed to be able to do blah, 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 and blah. So I would say, hey, we are an agency and we're looking for someone who has proficient skills in copywriting for landing pages, funnels, websites, blah, 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 in various industries, and they understand digital marketing, blah, 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 blah. Cool. That would be like my video thing. And then I'd ask for a few other things in between. Now that I can literally just paste that link to everybody who I want to actually use as a prospective candidate, right? The next thing I will also have is I will have my job description. Within that job description, I will have something like reference 55247. Why would I put that in? Because I can say to everyone, when I put that reference 55527, I would say respond to my job post with reference 5557 at the top of your response and in the subject line. So that means if anyone's going to copy and paste answers to my results, they've not read that reference 5557, whatever. So when they respond to me and they don't have the reference at the top or in the subject line, I can just delete those guys because they didn't bother to read. So why should I bother to read theirs? So I will instantly cut out like maybe 60% just based off of that. Then I would also have tasks within the actual description that I need them to do. So I have like 3 tasks. One would be, again, copywriting. I'd say complete this sentence, and I would put a sentence with gaps in between, past tense, present tense, blah, 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 blah. So they need to complete it so I know they can actually do English to the level I need them to be able to do, because that is a requirement for copywriting. Then I would also say, I need you to send me examples of your work. And then lastly, I'd say, this is a project. We're doing a project for Akila. She has a credit repair company, and we want to create a landing page about her 5 steps to credit repair freedom. What would you write as the copy for that? That is what I would put in my job description. I create that one time and I can use it forever.
Nice. That is amazing.
So,
what is Pink Elephant? Mogul Mike put that down. He said reference Pink Elephant.
I think my internet is a little behind because the last thing I see from Mogul Mike is this is also good content for a coaching program. So I think mine hasn't caught up on my end yet. So as soon as it catches up. But yeah, reference Pink Elephant. If you want to do the Mogul Mike way, you can definitely do that.
I don't know what that is. And then my last question. Oh yeah, you're dropping fire. I hope they are picking this up. Okay. Last but not least, how does one make themselves more marketable on Instagram, since we're here on this platform? Because to be honest, I don't have a brand. I just started.
All right, cool.
And that's just the honest to God truth. No sales pitch, really. No sales formula.
None of that.
So how does one make themselves hot, and how does one make themselves more marketable?
So the first things first, and it goes back to your art. Make sure you've mastered your art to the point where you can cause transformation or cause results or deliver results, right? That is the first thing. Once you're able to do that, everything else really is easy, because really everything else is you showcasing that one thing. Where people kind of falter is the ability to stay consistent with actually showcasing their art, right? And that is where people, because, I need to create this, I need to create that. A cheat code, I would say, is this. Anytime there's a new social media platform that comes out, that social media platform always has, attention arbitrage, right? Attention arbitrage is basically this. You've just started, Instagram has just started today. Instagram knows they're the new boys on the playground and the new kid on the block, and they need to make sure everybody knows about them. Because of that, whenever you post something on Instagram, They want more people to have the attention of what you posted. So they'll send it out to more people so that more people can share it and bring more people in, right? As soon as they get to the point where they're like, all right, cool, we're no longer the big boys, they start dropping that. And now it becomes a pay to play situation. So it goes from attention arbitrage, where you post one thing and then it goes out to the world and brings as many people back, because you're essentially doing their work for them. You're creating something to go out and bring all the people interested in credit repair in the world and wherever they are, to share and bring them back to Instagram and bring all their friends back with them. As soon as they get to the point where they don't need the attention arbitrage anymore, it now becomes a pay to play situation. Now, that is the concept for any social media platform, which is why TikTok currently is still doing that, because TikTok is trying to stay ahead of Insta, because Insta is trying to catch up with them. So they're still doing that. Now, the next thing I'll say to that is this. Even though that happens, when there is a war between the 2 or 3 or 4 companies, that attention arbitrage will still be there. It just will not be in the main thing. It might be in a new feature, which on Instagram is a reel, because reels are trying to keep up with TikTok, right? At the same time, LinkedIn is trying to catch up to everybody else. At the same time, Snapchat is just basically saying, all right, cool, we're not going to play this game anymore with them. We're going to try something totally different, right? But we still want to be in that. So we still want to be at the party, but we realize we may not be able to be the top dogs at the party. So we're going to try something different. So the attention arbitrage in Instagram is currently in reels. On TikTok, it's still on TikTok in general, because they want to stay ahead. On LinkedIn, is almost essentially everywhere, because they're trying to be Instagram or TikTok. On Snapchat, it is just general, because they're trying to just be at the party. So the reason why I say that is this. If you're just starting out, look for where you can leverage that attention arbitrage. On Instagram, it is in reels. If you can create more reels as you're starting content, you'll be able to get that thing where you're getting out to more people to bring them back to Instagram. So do Instagram's job for them. On TikTok, the more stuff you post on there, especially if it's got valuable content, you can go viral on TikTok just because you posted something that's really dope. And then people come back and be like, oh, but she only has one post, right? But at the same time, if they come back and see that one post, but they see, oh, click my link in bio to take you to a page where it's a funnel where you can get X, Y, and Z in exchange for your name, phone number, and email. So I'll give you the 5 biggest mistakes of credit repair in exchange for that. Then that virality, you can capitalize on it, because now they've clicked your link to get that information and you've got leads, right? So now that's the framework. Knowing that now, you as a starter trying to get more marketable on social media, you would want to start posting things with regards to reels. On TikTok, those same reels that you post on Instagram, you can repurpose those same reels and put them on TikTok. You can repurpose those same reels and put them in your stories on Instagram. You can repurpose those same reels and use them in your stories on Snapchat, right? You can repurpose those same reels and put them in your YouTube shorts. You can repurpose those same reels and put them in your Facebook stories if you wanted to, right? But then I don't necessarily think anyone should spread themselves thin across all platforms. If I was to say to you, the platform you should start off with, I would say have Instagram, have TikTok, have YouTube, and possibly have LinkedIn, depending on what your business is. But those are the 4 henchmen that I would say that you should have within your, I guess, marketing bubble. Now comes to what should you actually be posting.
Yeah, thank you.
You want to post solutions that are going to cause minimal changes. And when I say minimal changes, I mean point A to point B changes, or point A to point B transformation in your customer's life. I can post something on my Instagram that shows you how to get a domain name and register your domain name if you don't know where to start in starting your website. There'll be a bunch of people who don't know how to do that, but I have given them a transformation from point A to point B, which is a minimal transformation, but it's a quick win, right? But that is a solution that in general, people within my audience will need because that is a problem they have. So focus only on the solutions. And it doesn't have to be, I need to move you from point A to point Z. I don't need you to know how to create a website in 10 minutes. I need you to just know you can do this to register your company, your domain name. You could do this to get your hosting. You can, if you did want to get a website, you may not need a website just yet, but you can go to Card, and for anyone listening, CARD.com. And let's just say you're not sure about your business, you're not sure about what you need to be doing. You could create an online presence on there for $9.99 for the year and figure it out that way, right? I could post something else and says, should you go with Wix? Should you go with Shopify? And I can say to you, the reason why you shouldn't do either is because when you go with those guys, you start paying rent, because as soon as you get with any of those, you're paying rent. And the thing with paying rent is you need to figure out how you're going to become a business straight away. So if on day one, going back to the t-shirts, and I have t-shirts, but I don't know how to sell them just yet because I'm still new to the internet game, I still have to pay rent on my Shopify website. I still have to pay rent on my Wix. At the same time, there are restrictions on those guys because they are made for you to be able to do everything yourself. So they're a DIY platform. So it's not going to have most of the features that you actually need. You're going to need to pay for them, right? And now if you're paying rent, you don't have ownership. So let's just say you have a bad 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you're still paying rent whilst you're still trying to figure it all out. Right now, if I put that on my Instagram in a short reel for like 60 seconds, a lot of people will be like, I did not even know this. I did not know that was a thing. Exactly. I didn't know blah, 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 blah. But that is a solution that they needed. So what I come back to is focus on the solutions that your customers need, focus on the solutions your ideal customers need, and just create those. The best thing with any content that you can create is to create videos, because the more people know, like, and trust you, the quicker it is for them to actually pay you. The easiest way to get people to know, like, and trust you is through video, because they can see your cadence, they can listen to how you speak, they can see vocab, they can see tonality, they can see your body language, all those sort of things you can't get in just them listening to you or them reading stuff that you say. They need to be able to see you, and the closest thing they can do is through video. Hence why Reels are great. YouTube is amazing. TikToks are good, right? But the other thing you also need to remember is YouTube will be a long form thing. So if it's going to be an hour long, put that on YouTube. Take a really cool clip from that YouTube video, put that on your Instagram reel, leading back to your YouTube. Take that same clip that you use in your Instagram, put that on your TikTok to take people back to your YouTube. In your YouTube, just like how Dave has, you can have a commercial halfway through that tells people about what it is that you do. And they need to click the link in the About Us section to get onto your landing page or get into your funnel or get your free ebook or get your free consultation or get your free checklist, whatever it is, right? But all those things are a cycle, and it all starts because you're able to create solutions that people actually want and people actually need. So that is the content you want to create, and that is the content that will take you to the next step in your business. And that is how you become more marketable, because you help people by helping people. And that's that.
Nice. And we wrap with this question that Mogul Mike is saying. I don't know if it's a long answer for you. Mention the top 3 underutilized methods in marketing and SEO for real repurposing.
The top 3 what?
The top 3 underutilized methods in marketing and SEO for real repurposing.
Oh, for real repurposing. Okay, so if we're gonna say SEO, so for anyone who's listening, SEO is search engine optimization. Excuse me. And what that basically means is when I type in XYZ into Google, that thing comes up alongside 9 other things, because it's a result of 10 things. And then you want to be part of one of those 10 things that come up. So that is what search engine optimization is, right? There is also there's also Google Maps and all those sort of things, but let's just focus on search engine optimization in that sense. First things first, your videos need to have the right keywords within them. So you can actually, when you create a video and it's on your camera roll, it'll be something like, I don't know, video 55076 DSC, something like that. You can rename that video and change it to 5 top tips by Keeler on credit repair. That's the first thing you can do, right? So now you've got a keyword rich title for that particular file. It's no longer a random DSC 5077, whatever. It now has a keyword in that title, which means when you post it online, it already has those keywords embedded within them. That's the first thing, right? The next thing that you can use with that reel for repurposing is make sure that the section that you've actually used in that reel is interesting. You don't want a part where it's just, so yeah, there was this and then there was that. You want a part where it's spicy, where things are happening, it's interesting. Right. It's like, yo, that is so dope. This guy just said this. Yo, I need to share this with like 5 people. Like, they wouldn't believe me when I was saying it, but now he said it. Now they need to listen to me because what I said was what he said, and we're all right, you know? That is the stuff that you want to resend. That is why the Shade Room and all these guys are so popping, because they're throwing out shade. You know, that's what's interesting. That's the spicy stuff, you know? But you can do the exact same thing with your content. So get the spicy section, have the right title for that spicy section, then you put that up. Then the keywords that you use, again, because this is a reel, the keywords that you use need to be the keywords that your customers are thinking of. So in your case, it would be something like hashtag credit repair business, hashtag credit repair mistakes, hashtag how to fix my credit. Like, think.
Well, I do business, credit, and funding.
Say that again.
I do business, credit, and business funding.
So you could put those in as well. Obviously, make sure you do your research to make sure that those tags are the right tags, hashtags to use. And then you could do that. Business funding, it'll probably say something like business funding strategy, business funding, I wouldn't say plays, I'll probably say strategy or methods, those sort of things. So those keywords you could use within your reel and post that. Now, if you're going to take that same reel and repurpose it on TikTok, you may not necessarily want to use the exact same title. You could switch words around, right? Me personally, I don't yet have enough information to say whether changing the keywords or the title within that particular thing will make a difference or not. Only because if it's on a website, yes, definitely. Because Google has this thing where they penalize you if you've copied something from one part and put it on the other part. So if I copy something from your website, which is say credit repair, blah, 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 and I paste that exact same thing on my website, I would get the penalty because I copied you.
So what type of penalty would you get?
So that could affect that page where basically it doesn't come up as high as it should in the rankings when people search my keywords, or it could also affect my whole website, especially if I've done it too many times because of the plagiarism. I'm copying somebody else's and putting it on mine. My whole website could then get a knock for that in search rankings because I'm plagiarizing somebody else.
That is a bar. People don't know that.
That's true, actually. People might not know that.
Wondering why no customers.
So yeah, people, definitely don't copy. Don't copy somebody else's stuff word for word. Don't copy and paste. Don't say, oh, these guys are Wells Fargo, I'm going to copy what they say on my how to become a bank, and I'm going to tell you how to become a bank, but I'll just copy what they say and put it on mine. Nah, you need to take what they say, yes. Either get a copywriter to remix the stuff, or you do it yourself, but model it and change it to fit in with your stuff. Don't just copy and paste and be like, all right, cool, we're done. Google will see that and be like, yeah, these guys are serious. Boom, knock them down. Like literally and they don't, and it's the algorithm that will do this. So it's not a case of somebody has to see it and read it. It's literally a case of there is what's the website called? Copyscape? No, I think it's Copyscape, or yeah, I think it's Copyscape, where basically you can take something that you've put on your website and put it into Copyscape, and it'll tell you if it is on any other website out there in the world. So if you hired a copywriter and they actually just copy and paste it from somebody else's stuff, you can take it and put it in and be like, actually, homie, you did not actually write this yourself. You just copy and pasted these other guys. So I ain't paying you.
Hiring that cheap labor
Exactly.
on Fiverr. That's another bar. Oh, this is one fire. Yeah.
So exactly. So that is something that you want to do. Now, again, coming back to what Mogul Mike was asking. So now when you put that same thing on TikTok, I would say, just to be on the safe side, just change the words around on the title that you use. So it's not the exact same thing on Instagram that you post on TikTok. Again, this, I'm still not sure there's enough evidence to say that there will be a knock, just because it's one social platform and it's another social platform. It's not like the internet, where Google essentially is controlling the internet in most of the sense, because everyone uses a search engine to find stuff. This is one social platform has one thing, another social platform has the same thing or a similar thing. I don't think there is a knock necessarily, but just to be on the safe side, you can change it from 5 steps to avoid credit repair mistakes to 5 biggest mistakes of credit repair. Like, that's a simple change, and you're not gonna really need any necessary difficult tasks to just change it to that. Cool. So you post that on your TikTok, the exact same video, new title, hashtags, and is there anything else I would say? And yeah, that's it. Now, when you come to post on your website, this is where things I would suggest should be different. I would not use the same title that I have on my Instagram or my TikTok. I would not have that exact same title on either of them. I can embed that. And this is another thing. You don't need to recreate that whole video. You don't need to upload the video that you put on Instagram or TikTok, because first of all, that is going to be heavy and that is going to slow down your site. So you can get the embed code, which if you just click on the 3 dots on your Instagram, it will give you a code for embedding. You can just embed that whole video on your page, on your website. And that means that basically your website isn't carrying the load, Instagram is. So your website is not necessarily going to be slowed down because of that. And then again, say it's the 5 biggest mistakes you can make in credit repair. You just change the title to something else to do with mistakes or errors of credit repair, or the five errors I've seen most businesses make with credit repair, right? That's what I would change it to. Now you don't have any issues of plagiarism from Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Even though it's your own video, you're not going to have any issues, because Google's not going to holler at you like, yo, oh yeah, we saw this on TikTok, which one was first? Or we saw it on Instagram, were you first or were they first? We know it's your video, which one? Like, Google's not going to do that. The algorithm is just going to be like, yo, these guys are copying, boom. So you put that on your site, you put the embed code, and you then put your keywords behind it, which is your meta description on your website, and you post it and you're good to go. So now you have your video on those 3 different platforms and it's out there in the world. And if you have something at the end of your video, which is click link to see X, Y, and Z, or click link to see more, or click link to go to YouTube to watch the rest of it, or click link to go to a landing page or funnel, or whatever it is, that is what you should always be using your content to do. Your content should always be leading people to some place or somewhere where they can become a lead and potential customer for you. So that is that.
You didn't lit this up. I really hope people are taking note. I am going to save this video, and I'm also going to make you a collaborator. This is so good. Is there anything we have not spoken about? Anything you would like to share moment before we wrap
Yes.
up, but this is
Yes, the two
good.
things.
This is real good.
Appreciate it, Keela. Yeah, the two things that Max and Mo might remind me of, which was the T-shirt and yoga. Your biz with yoga, right?
Oh, my yoga. Yes.
So I had to take a quick water break there. So, no worries at all. So going back to the T-shirt person, what was the question around? Was it how to do your market research as a T-shirt company?
Yeah, for a T-shirt. It's like, everyone wants to have a T-shirt business. Kind of like, how do I know if my T-shirt idea is relevant?
Awesome, cool. So, anyone who is going into e-commerce and e-commerce in fashion, the first thing I'll say to you is that is a part of the business world that is difficult. Not difficult that is it is impossible, but it's difficult because everybody and their mama could do it. As you guys say, everybody and their mama did, but it is a difficult thing unless you're able to separate yourself from everybody else who's in that space. Rather than trying to figure that out right from the get-go, what I always say to people is this: create your blanks or whatever it is. Get someone like Carlissa, Jack the God, any of the creators who are dope at graphic design. Get them to create the artwork. Get those blanks, right, on Canva, which is, when I mean by blank, is just a T-shirt, a blank white T-shirt on Canva. Take the logo that Jack the God or Carlissa have created, stick it on there, download that image, put it on eBay, right? Put that on eBay. Put the title on eBay with the right keywords, whatever your T-shirt is, whether it's a love T-shirt or it's a I'm the best rapper T-shirt, whatever it is, put the keywords that are relevant to it. So if it's rapping and all that stuff, put hip hop, rapper, Jay-Z, Kanye, put all the relevant keywords. If it's entrepreneurship, put business owner, entrepreneurship, CEO, all the relevant keywords, as well as have your business logo on that image. So if I call it Oye Apparel, Oye Apparel should be somewhere in the watermark so people know that's the brand, right? Now, when you put that on eBay, you put your description, cotton, size, small, medium, large, all that sort of stuff, put that all on there. Now, eBay's job, eBay doesn't get paid until you get paid. eBay's job is to market it to the world and get people to buy it. If you've put the keywords there, you've put a dope picture, and when I say dope picture, you could use that blank, or if you want to take a step further, get that one T-shirt made, get your homie to wear it or yourself, go to a dope place that has a dope background, be it a hotel foyer or a park or a restaurant. Outside of the restaurant, take the photo, then put that up on eBay. eBay's job now is to go and get people to come and buy it. So now, at most, you've probably spent for each T-shirt $10 each or $15 each to have them made. If you have 5 T-shirts, that's what $75 that you've dropped on that. And then the time that's going to take you to go do these quick photo shoots with your boys, which you could easily do, or your girls, or whatever it is. Now you have your 5 T-shirts, you could put them up on eBay. So essentially, it's probably going to cost you at most $150, right? Because you don't need a camera, you can use your phone and you can do all these things. $150, put them up on eBay, let eBay go and see if eBay can sell it. If you start making sales, you now know, okay, cool, I do have something that people are interested in. Now it's a case of how do I figure out how to separate myself from everybody else with everything that I'm doing. That's where you start doing stuff like your video shoots and posting your video fashion shoots on your Instagram page. You can create your Instagram page about that. The thing that separates most T-shirts or fashion or any type of companies that are in the fashion space is the values of the owners. So if you're shy, you need to become unshy. That's just the truth. If you're in the fashion space, you need to become unshy,
Yeah.
or have somebody else who is part of the biz, who can be the face of the company. Because if you start a podcast for your fashion company and you drop in whatever your thoughts are on anything relevant to your principles and your interests and your beliefs, you start amassing an audience. So imagine Kanye back in the day, starting off with Yeezy, and I'm talking about college dropout Kanye. He wasn't paid up to where he is at now. He was still at that stage where he was trying to figure out and get onto Rockefeller as one of the new boy wonders. And he had a podcast where he was like, yo, here's my beliefs. I think we should be doing Sunday service. I think we need to be doing this. I think our people need to do this together, and then we can do this. I believe that the biggest mistake that we do is we let other people teach us or tell us what we should believe in ourselves. Now, he will start amassing an audience of people who think just like that. And those people would be the people who want to become his customers because they believe in what he's talking about. And if anyone wants to challenge me on this, it's the same thing with Sean John, Rockaway, Vocal. Any single record label that had a company knew this, because when you're buying Rockaway, you feel like you're one of Jay-Z's homies. When you're buying Sean John, you felt like you were rocking with Diddy and Mace. When you brought Vocal, you felt like you could put a plaster on and go out with St. Lunatics like Nelly. That is the truth of everything. But it was because through what they did was through their music, they created their mentality, they created the principles, they showed you their interests, and you rocked with that. You liked them as an artist, and then you got their merch. That same process with you, who's just starting off in a t-shirt company, is how you're going to separate yourself from almost everybody else who's in the same space as you. So if you're starting a t-shirt company, I would say get your stuff on eBay first, see if you can get sales, then do the podcast alongside of that, and use that to actually sell your merch. You don't yet need a website because you haven't yet proven the business to the market just yet, right? But with the podcast that's talking about your principles and what you believe in and all that sort of stuff, you're attracting people who are interested to that stuff. They now see your merch, they will then buy, right? And then if they're buying off eBay, you don't need a website. They can buy it off eBay. Yeah, eBay will take their chunk, but still you can see you're making a business out of this. You now have a path to figure out, okay, what can I do next to take this to the next level? So that is from you starting up to that point. So that is on the t-shirt side of things. Now, the other thing was yoga and you. So from my perspective, I don't necessarily think that you shouldn't have your yoga as part of your content. Not necessarily. The reason why I say this is this, and I always like to back my stuff with people who have actually done it.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk?
I am.
Oh, you met him? Even dope.
Yeah, it's a picture somewhere with me and him.
Nice.
Years ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyone who follows Gary V or is a student of Gary V, be it Crush It or whatever it is or anything he preaches, we all know Gary V wants to buy the Jets. We all know he's big on baseball cards. We all know he's big on eBay. We all know he's big on NFTs. These are all things which are different to his main thing of VaynerMedia. We all know he's good. He's big about hustling and going out and working. We all know all these things. We all know about wine TV and his dad's wine company and that's how he started out and all that sort of stuff. But that has nothing to do with VaynerMedia. But these are all things around it which help to create the authenticity of who he is in his main company. So I'll use myself as an example. Anyone who listens to me or follows me to whatever degree knows I'm big on Jigga, I'm big on Biggie, I'm into group economics, I like keys, I like sneakers, I like basketball, I like the Celtics, I'm Nige. They'll know all these things. But this isn't anything, nothing I've said. I'm big on fashion. None of the things I've said has anything to do with websites or web design or digital marketing or funnels. It's just
this is a real person, and this is what this person is into, and these are real things that we resonate with. With you, it doesn't have to be a case of you're doing down dog poses or you're doing this set of pose or whatever. It could just be a case of, yo, my yoga is helping with my mentality for today to get me going and get me in the right mood and get back into my business and get things going. Today's yoga day. Today, I'm using yoga with my breathing to get me to deal with this client who may be a headache, but we're going to get through it. Like, there are ways to weave it in that shows your personality and doesn't detract from your business, in my opinion, in my perspective. And at the same time, the world that we're currently in, Web 2.0 to Web 3.0 on the internet, is different to when Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and IBM came up. They didn't need to be the faces of their companies. The companies just need to have a cool logo and a big brand behind it for people to imagine and be on TV, for people to think in their heads, this must be a big brand because it's on TV, so they must be the guys we need to buy from. That's all they needed. If they were coming up now, which is why they're more in front with their brands, Apple, Tim Cook is always in front of stuff. Steve Jobs, when he was alive, he was always being in front of stuff. Mark Zuckerberg, because he grew up with it, like he's one of the founders, he's always at the forefront of his company with Facebook or Meta, whatever you want to call it. Who else is there? Warren Buffett is at the front of everything now with Berkshire Hathaway. Like, all the companies.
That's true. Because I'm from, not to cut you off, because I'm from Chicago, and Berkshire Hathaway is real huge, and the low income developments and all of that is all over Chicago. And I had no clue he had anything to do with it up until recently.
Because they all know that they need to be in involved marketing, which is basically when you're in the forefront of the face of your company, because they know with Web 2.0 and Web 3.0, people ain't just listen and see you on TV, oh yeah, these are the guys. They're going to research you. That same process we spoke about earlier, where they Google you, check out your social media, see where your interest is, see what you believe in, see what your principles are, all that stuff. They're going to use that to decide whether they are going to buy from you or not. Like, people like our generation doesn't just listen to what they see on the news and say, oh yeah, these guys must be the guys, or these guys must be correct. We're like, let me go figure out for myself first before I listen to what you're actually saying. And if I figure out that it matches, then I'll believe some of what you say. That's our generation. And Web 3.0 is going to be even more of that, because they're going to be like, yeah, you guys, especially the media, we don't necessarily trust anything that you say. So we're going to figure out, check for ourselves, then come back. You know, that's going to be more and more what's going to happen. Hence why you need to be the face of your company. And at the same time, you need to have a personality behind your company. So people aren't just believing in the brand, they're believing in the personality. Again, using Gary Vee as an example, VaynerMedia, Gary Vaynerchuk, a lot of people don't even remember that VaynerMedia is under Gary Vee. They focus on Gary Vee first, then be like, oh yeah, I can work with them through VaynerMedia. And if you go and look at the both companies on Instagram, you see Gary Vee is like maybe 3-4 mil followers. VaynerMedia is like maybe 30,000 followers. You know?
That is so true. That's like, thank you for this. Like, seriously, because another thing, Dave even said that himself, like, I archived my videos because I said once I get to the level where I could hire a real media marketing type person, I'm gonna tell them to weave it in the proper way. So it wasn't that I was just gonna take it away. I'm gonna take it away for now until I figure out how to add it back in, because it's like, if I want to do business with you, I work out. Working out is a huge part of who I am. I do it 6 days a week, right? Huge part of my sanity, and I would be doing you a disservice if you really wanted to get to know me. I couldn't even have a conversation and not talk about yoga or working out or fitness, right? I can't even meet people and not introduce them to it. So that should let you know. Like, say for instance, you came to Atlanta and something. At some point, like, hey, you want to go take yoga in the morning since we here for the weekend? I was trying to recruit people for the morning. Like, hey, let's all do this legit.
Let's go.
Like, if you want to hang out with me, you gotta do some of the things I like. And that's kind of like the same principle you take when you're looking to buy from someone. Like I could go see you and then I'll see, oh yeah, he's a skater. Okay, I'm
Yep.
like, oh yeah, okay, click, let me buy it.
Because it adds more to the personality and the authenticity. It's not a case of I just want to come to and see this guy just work. I want to, does he have a life outside of work? Like, does he do anything else? Or is just constantly, oh yeah, website. After some time, it's social media. People need to see your social aside from the media.
Because again, too, I don't even really trust people who selling all the time. Like you go on their page, and even though it's correct, it's exactly the way the professionals say your page should be set up, you are so correct. It's some people, like the reason I ended up in RPX and not the other mentorships, he seemed personal. You know, you saw his family, you saw him giving things. He just wasn't. And you can go to some people pages, even though they're, which one I call them, gurus, selling. You know nothing about them personally. All you see is what they're marketing. Thank you so very much for this. We've been on this. Oh my God, this is a workshop. Y'all got a free workshop,
Free game.
With real examples, okay? This just does not happen on the fly. If you're struggling with any sort of marketing, anything like I didn't understand social media marketing, any of that, funnels, any of that. This is your guy. I'm here to tell you, I love Olivier a lot because he does have integrity. I never got on the phone with someone that was selling a product and didn't try to sell me something. Like for real, you may be like, hey, you're not ready for this program, but hey, I have a coaching program, you know, or a Facebook group for $99 a month. People are not gonna let you off the phone without trying to hard sell you. And I just want to say I appreciate that. I do trust you, and you're on my list, and I do have instructions. I'm gonna do everything you said, and then I'm gonna come back and holler.
Defo. We'll be here. We'll be waiting. Always happy to help. Always happy to receive you.
Yes. So as we wrap up, let everyone know how you can help them and where they can find you.
Cool. Awesome. So it's a shame that I can't see what's going on because for some reason my last chat I still have is Mogul Mike about his coaching program. I literally can't see anything else, but it's all good. So if anyone is looking to get in touch, the easiest way on Instagram is to click the link in my bio. And interestingly enough, I now have 3 books that I have actually finished. So yeah. Started the first one in 2020 and then did another one and just said, actually, you know, I'll do one more. So all of them are about, so the first one, which is basically a video book on, it's called The Secret Web Design Checklist and the 5 biggest mistakes you can make online and how to avoid them. So if you click the link in my bio, you can get it. It's free and you can basically go in there, get the video book, and basically it will guide you on getting online, your website, the stuff that you need to actually have clients coming to you, all that sort of stuff. Easily digestible, very easy to follow, and straightforward. So yeah, that is in my link in bio. At the same time, if you want to work with us, you can also click the link in bio and there's an option to discuss your website, or if it's lead generation, funnels, any of that sort of stuff, you can pick any of the right options which are for you and then book a call and we would be happy to see if it is something we can help you with. It's a case of we have to be a right fit for each other. So my team and myself and your team and yourself, we need to have the right fit, and then we'd be happy to work with you. And that is pretty much it. You can follow me at T Starts And feel free to DM me. I'm always happy to answer people in the DMs. Anyone who hollers, I will always get back to them and give them any information that they need. So I am not unapproachable. So feel free to holler. And I think that's pretty much it, really.
And just so you'll know, like, the chat is lit. It's Mobile Mike. It's a couple of people. They're just like dropping gems, dropping
Appreciate
fire.
it, guys.
And you can add this free workshop to the list, because it was a step-by-step guide for new entrepreneurs. So media marketing and social media 101. Oh my God, I've learned so much in this time, in this interview. Like, you have seriously just really fired me up to continue on with this. And when I get I'm in the process of setting up my podcast, right? We're gonna have to do this again this is so good, okay, guys? Do not slip. I don't care if it was free, you need to listen to it. I don't care what level you think you're on. When it comes to social media, he dropped some real gems on the website, everything. This is so good. Yes, Credit Box said this is great information. We have amazing. Yep, this was great. And Amy is saying fire, fire, fire. Thank you, guys. Yeah, this is so good.
Appreciate it, guys.
And I just want to appreciate you. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And then we have King. Yes, that is good. Hit him up, follow him, do not slip. Thank you, Oye.
Do not it.
When is next time you coming to the States?
So I'm trying to make sure we're set up. So the next morning meetup, I'm actually able to come through and be there. So that is what I'm trying to do. Okay. We actually just got our US financial institution set up 2-3 weeks ago, because that was something that I was trying to figure out for the longest time, just so when people want to pay us over there, they could just pay us directly into a US bank as opposed to transfer fees and this one and that one. I was just like, yeah, let's just do it this way. So when I do come over, it's a write-off. So
yep. There you go. That's exactly how we do it. So amazing. Thank you so very much for your time. It's always such a joy, and this has been an immense joy.
Appreciate it, Keila. Thank you for having me. And to everyone in the chat, thank you for the kind words. I'm sorry I can't see what it is that you're saying. So it's not a case of I'm ignoring you, but I just can't see what's going on. But thank you for all the kind words, and thank you for having me, Akila.
Thank you. Hey guys, tag 10 friends. You must tag 10 people. You can't keep this information to yourself. Tag 10 people on this video. I'm here to tag you. Share, share, share alike. Have a great day, y'all. Bye, guys.